After 10 long years of battling an addiction with the P word, I finally discovered the truth. And I wish someone told me this years ago, because all the blockers, all the apps, all the accountability buddies, and all the discipline in the world never worked for me. And if you've been stuck in that same cycle too, I'm about to share the lessons that I learned the hard way so you don't have to waste 10 years of your life like I did. Here's what my life looked like. I downloaded blockers and they worked until I figured out how to bypass them. I tried accountability partners and that worked until we both stopped checking in on each other. And relying on discipline, that was its own shit show. I'd last a few days, maybe even a couple of weeks. I lasted 3 weeks at most, but then I'd crash and I'd burn. I'd feel ashamed of myself. And then that cycle would repeat all over again. I'd download the apps, I'd redo the willpower, I'd get a new accountability buddy, and nothing stuck. Sounds familiar? Starting strong, only to relapse a couple of days later, feeling defeated after a couple of days of trying to resist. That was me, over and over and over again for literally a decade. I finally hit a breaking point after I realized I was having performance issues down there, and it was all caused by the P word. And I was 18 at the time, so I felt like my life was over. I was so embarrassed. So I literally flew and I spent my last dollars flying to Austin, Texas from my home base in California for an event on behavior change. And it was probably the scariest and most exciting thing I've done up to this point in my life, but it's where I met the smartest men I've ever learned from about the human mind. And on the flight back home, everything clicked, and I truly believe that's when everything changed. I realized porn was never really the problem, and I was never really the problem. It was my environment, and it was the systems that I was running. Because here's the truth, your brain is like a train. It doesn't think, it just follows the tracks that you've laid out. And until you change the tracks, you're gonna end up going the same way and the same destination. It's kind of like a kid who throws a temper tantrum like in a grocery store, or you've seen those kids, right? Every time they hear the word no, they throw a tantrum. Why do they do that? Because they learned that going crazy and throwing tantrums get results. That's how the brain works. When we keep going back to the P word, it's not because we're broken or because we love it. It's because our brains have been trained to run that script to make us feel better. Pretty crazy stuff, right? And he was on stage and one of the experts said something that I just could not get out of my mind, and it really stuck with me to this day. He said, we're not made of our thoughts. We are made of our scripts and our triggers. So what does that mean? A trigger is an event that sparks an urge, and a script is an automatic action that we run after the trigger. Think of it kind of like traffic lights. Green light is the trigger, and the script is stepping on the gas, okay? So once a green light happens, you don't think, you just do it. The P word works in the exact same way. Stress, boredom, loneliness, anger, those are the green lights. Those are the triggers. And the script that your brain runs is open the tab, watch adult content, and release the emotion. And here is the scary part. Most of our triggers are hidden. We don't even think about them. We don't even realize that they're there. We think it's just a habit. But deep down, it's stress. It's the work you're avoiding. It's the feelings of loneliness you don't want to face. Whatever it is, you need to figure it out. For me, every time I felt overwhelmed with work, instead of tackling it and just doing the work, I'd run to adult content. And it's sad because it never actually solved the problem. It only made it worse. Because at that point, not only did I have the pile of work, but I had less energy, I had more brain fog, and I have a heavy load of shame weighing on my shoulders. And that cycle literally drained me for years, okay? So unless you fix the triggers and the scripts, you're gonna keep going back, and that's the truth. And that's the thing I wish someone told me when I was a teenager. But here's the good news. Once you actually recognize a trigger, you actually gain the power to rewrite the script. So for me again, overwhelm was a trigger. The script was adult content. So now that I realized it, I have the power to change it. Next time I felt the waves of overwhelm, instead of just diving right in, I asked myself, what can I do right now to release this emotion? And you know what I did? I started taking 10-minute walks. Simple, right? Sounds too good to be true? It's not. It's how the brain works. You replace the old script with the new one. And over time, that train starts running on different tracks until the old destination is way out of sight. And that's how I've been able to be free from pornography and never go back. So if you're serious about quitting, here's what I would like you to consider doing the next time the urge shows up. 1, start noticing the triggers. Pay attention to what you're feeling or what you're doing when the urge hits. And 2, once you actually know the trigger, rewrite the script and ask yourself, how else can I release this emotion without the P word? That's the start. But listen, the truth is, this is hard to do alone. I mean, I tried for 10 years. I know how frustrating it is. That's why at this point, I've helped over 300 men quit the P word for good by finding their hidden triggers and actually helping them rewire the script. So if you want that kind of support, someone in your corner who knows the exact path to freedom, click the link below and schedule a private root session call with me. We're gonna dive deep into your triggers and your specific life and build a real plan for you to break free. Because unless you actually change the script, nothing will change. But once you do, everything will change and you'll feel in control again. You'll feel confident again and you'll finally live like the man that you were meant to be. So click the link below and I'll see you soon.